So at the beginning of the pandemic, I got laid off and I had nothing to do with my time. I decided I should probably make some sort of use of it. The first thing I got to was gardening, and I just decided that didn't keep me busy enough. I got into leather working, and that was far too expensive. And this was something I had always had a huge appreciation for when I was a little kid. When I was about 5 years old, I actually asked my uncle to make me armor. He told me he didn't know how, and so I just decided I was going to myself. And I like to think that this is just a continuation of that. I'd say the hardest part is that there are not a lot of suppliers readily available to go get the tools from. Good steel can be a little bit hard to come by. And even the heat source, like I had to make my first couple of heat sources myself because it's either go and buy these ones that are expensive and not readily available, or jank something together yourself. So I have to say, I love to make tools, but ultimately my favorite thing to make is swords. These guys here, these were forged from leaf springs. I'd say this one was about a little bit longer than that when I started out. I think it comes largely from being such a fantasy nerd when I was a kid, and I had always wanted a sword, and they're expensive, and the ones that you can get are really crappy. So I like the idea that I can make these in such a quality that I couldn't ever buy them. And I mean, who makes swords? It's cool. I'd say some of the easiest things are probably very small blades, because as much as it can be intricate, it feels like a very basic shape, and it's one I'm very familiar with. Other things that are really easy are like punches, drifts, sort of the basic tools of getting the work done. Obviously, once you get into more intricate shapes, it becomes very hard to hammer them out. So anything that comes down to a simple shape, like a blade. The best thing is that I have the ability to make things even a lot of talented people couldn't really wrap their head around. I mean, I work with very, very good machinists, far better than me. And they have to go, if they want to make something that has a bend to it, they have to cut everything else out that they don't need. I get to shape things the way that I want them. I wish people understood the work that goes into the things that they use. You know, if people understood just a teensy-tiny bit about metallurgy and how, not just steels, but how metals work in general, and you know, what makes something strong or high quality, I think we'd all be a lot better off for it. The worst thing is probably the cost of actually running the thing. Fuel is not cheap. Certainly not these days. You know, I'll go through about a tank of propane every weekend running my current setup. And on top of that, I live in a residential neighborhood. It's fairly loud. And by fairly, I mean my friend 2 courtyards down can actually hear me when he's in his backyard. So at times I do feel like a bit of a nuisance, but I try to, you know, maintain in my neighbors' good graces to mitigate that. Let them know if there's anything they ever need made or fixed, they can holler at me, and you know, try not to smith too late into the evening. But beyond that, it's pretty much just all pure fun.